Hello everybody, pause the video and grab a drink. It's me, Alcatraz Gamer, once again with another weekly update, I guess. Real quick, I'm going to do a video here about my review on The Mummy 2017, starring Tom Cruise and a lot of other people. Yeah, that's a good start. So, this movie is the introduction into the new Dark Universe. It's going to be a cinematic universe featuring all of the Universal monsters from all like the 30s and 40s and stuff, like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the Wolfman. I could go on. This is the first one in this entry, and what do I think about it? I think it's pretty good. It definitely does its job as a setup for the Dark Universe. I still think it's a pretty decent Mummy movie as well. Now, disclaimer, the only Mummy movie I've seen is the original Boris Karloff one from like the 30s or 40s or whatever. That's the only one I've seen. I haven't seen the Brendan Fraser one, so I don't know how this pairs up. Even though I've heard some people say they're good, some people I've heard say they're bad. I don't know. But how is this one? I think it's pretty good. Let's talk about the plot. So the plot is Tom Cruise is I forget what his name is. If I know an actor in a live action movie, I'm just gonna call them by their actual name unless I don't know, unless they have an actual memorable name. But Tom Cruise in this movie, he's not exactly the best guy around. You know, he's a thief. He's very Nathan Drakey in this movie. And he's always looking for treasure to go sell on the black market. You know, make money, get rich, after finding treasure, you know, that sort of thing. He's in Iraq, and he finds this tomb under this city. He unleashes what's in the tomb by accident. And now we have our Mummy movie. The person who plays the Mummy, I don't remember her name. Put it right here. She does a good job as the Mummy. I think she was creepy. She looks like a mummy that would be in these types of movies. She acts like one. She does her role well, I think. Same with Tom Cruise. Pretty much all the acting in this movie is pretty good. So I might go over a couple of tiny spoilers in this movie. When I do, I'll put a spoiler warning thing right up here. Alright? So if you see that, you can skip 15 seconds. You'll be fine. There is a part in this movie that I really liked. One of Tom Cruise's friends in the movie, I can't remember his name or who acts him, ends up getting killed, and his ghost kind of follows him around, and it was kind of refreshing to see that. It reminded me of the parts in American Werewolf in London. It really reminded me of that, and that was kind of nice. The horror is really good. The comedy, there's some of that in there, and it's pretty good. The theater was laughing at pretty much every time that the movie needed people to laugh. A small nitpick I would say about that is having both suspenseful dark horror and comedy mixed together. It was a little weird, but I think for what they did, it was pretty decent, I would say. But just a small nitpick, that's not a big deal. Especially if you're like a more casual moviegoer and you like don't nitpick the inner workings of everything in a movie, it's not gonna bother you at all. I will say in this movie, it's got really good horror. Like there's a lot of scenes in this movie that are actually genuinely scary and would be utterly terrifying to be in if you were the main character. And I think that's a good thing, because if you're gonna have a new modernized version of the Universal monsters in a universe, I think having good horror would be essential, basically, because you kind of need that for these types of movies. The biggest negative I have with this film is there are a lot of jump scares in this movie, and every time there was a jump scare, I knew it was going to happen. I mean, I still jumped. They're done decently so that they're done at the exact moment you don't expect them, at least. But you know when, like, about when they're going to happen. At least I did. It was overused at like, halfway through the movie, which was a little bit of a drag for me. But it does have better moments and picks up. Russell Crowe's character. Russell Crowe does a really good job at portraying this character, I think, and I can't wait to see him in the rest of the Dark Universe, as he seems to be kind of like the Nick Fury type of character in this universe that we're gonna get. But I really want to see his standalone movie. I want to see his story and how he got to be where he is now. And I'm not going to spoil who he is, because if you didn't know who he was, it might be a bit of a pleasant surprise for you of who he plays in this movie. If you already know, you already know. There's no point in me telling you, and if you don't know, I shouldn't spoil that for you. So I'm not going to. But that also brings me to one other small negative on the movie, but it's not the movie's fault, really. I kind of wish I didn't watch or see as many trailers as I did, and part of it wasn't 100% my fault that I saw them. Like, I saw a couple of the trailers that were showing, like the first trailer and the second trailer and stuff like that, but then also those trailers on YouTube that you get, because I'll watch videos on YouTube, and the advertisement will be of the Mummy movie, and a couple of them I couldn't skip, or couldn't skip in time until a few vital plot points, I think, were spoiled for me. So I wish I didn't see the trailers as much as I did. Then I would have been more... would have been in more suspense. Because, like, there were parts of this movie where it would go into a scene, and I'll be like, oh, this is that setting from the trailer. I know what's going to happen here. But at least in some parts of this movie, specifically when they go to this church area, I really like how they have like that old gothic horror Universal Monsters kind of look to some parts of this movie, which I'm glad they did, and I'm glad they didn't do it too much though, because yes, this is a Universal Monsters movie, but The Mummy isn't one of those movies that you'd want to have like the gothic churches in it as much, because that's not what the theme is. It's about Egyptians, and it does that pretty well, I think. From what I've heard, I didn't check, but from what I heard, there is no after-credit scene, so just forewarning you there so you don't sit in the theater forever like I did for Wonder Woman. I think that a lot of horror in this movie is done really well. The comedy is done well. The mixture of them is a little weird, but not that bad. And while the horror is good, it does rely a lot on jump scares, but it's not a big deal, and they don't do it every time there's horror. There are good twists and turns, the acting was good, and it, most importantly, got me excited to watch the rest of the Dark Universe. So, that's my general review for the Mummy. I would have to give this one a solid 7 out of 10. It has a few small issues, but nothing that's gonna take away from me not enjoying the film or anything. I still enjoy this movie. I think you should go watch it. And I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all later.
It's free real estate.